Hey SOS, it's Mr. Meyer, and this video is going to be for anyone who is considering or still considering going on the New York trip at the end of the month. This is going to be a great opportunity to not only see New York City and Philadelphia, but also to have some service work, because we're delivering the Crutches for Africa. We have a day on Staten Island to help Hurricane Sandy victims, and then we also have a half-day trip to Connecticut to deliver the memorial that Mr. Cruz is making. So it's really an incredible opportunity over spring break to give back. And I just want to explain some of the costs, because I've been hearing a lot of concerns about the price of the trip, and I just want to explain on one video where all the costs are going to, so people better understand how the cost of the trip is what it is. The first thing I had to do when organizing this trip is try to balance out cost, safety, and convenience. In other words, I'm not looking for the absolute cheapest option, because I want to make sure that we're in a safe part of town. I want to make sure that we're in a nice hotel with inside rooms for the students, and I also want to consider convenience getting around the city so that we can get to places in an efficient amount of time, so we're not having to leave a couple hours before we need to be anywhere. So those three things were what I was trying to consider when we planned the cost of the trip. And the reality is there's just no cheap way to go to New York City for 5 days. It's one of the most expensive cities in the country. And I think based on what we've got, that this is actually a very, very good deal for what we're getting. And I'll explain that here. Also on these estimates, understand that I tend to estimate high. I learned once a few years ago, I tried to give people the best case scenario, and then I found myself having to go back and ask people for more money. So I would rather estimate a little high and be able to bring the cost down than the other way around. So please keep that in mind as well. The bus. Most of the buses that we found were, again, it's not per person, it's for the whole bus, were between $7,000 and $10,000. We found a bus for $6,000. They gave us a discount because of the fact we're doing a service activity. It's been impossible to give an exact amount, because without knowing how many people are going, obviously the more people that go on the trip, the less that bus is going to cost per person. But at the end, it's a $6,000 rate that we have to give that bus company. But that comes with a lot of conveniences and safety issues. One, it includes all the insurance, it includes all the fuel, it includes the tools. You have a professional driver who knows the city. It also includes transportation in and out of the city each day. So local transportation takes us from our hotel door to the door of where we're going, picks us up in New York and brings us back to the hotel, which avoids us having to figure out train schedules, subways, and trying to keep everybody together. It's a very, very safe way of keeping everyone together as well. Plus, we then also have room to put our crutches and our memorial in the bottom of the bus. If we did not get the bus, the extra cost we would be looking at might even be just as expensive as the bus. We'd be looking at everyone who would have to chip in for gas, tolls, parking, fees to get around New York City every single day. We would have to rent a trailer to take the crutches and the memorial and probably some luggage, which we would then also have to pay insurance on that trailer and insurance on any vehicle that we were driving. So those are the expenses we'd be looking at without a bus. So the feel at the first meeting was, even if it's $50, $75 more a person, a bus is certainly worth all those safety features as well as the convenience of getting around the city. Also, the bus includes the stop in Philadelphia, the day to Staten Island, and the stop in Connecticut. So that is all included in the cost of that bus. Then we looked at hotels. And again, I didn't want to just get any hotel, because I want to make sure we're in a safe part of town, and I want to make sure the rooms are indoor rooms so that the kids don't go outside the room and be walking outside. We found a Sheraton property in New Jersey, 4 or 5 miles outside of New York City, that offered us a $90 rate, including tax, per night for room, which for a Sheraton is pretty much unheard of. It's a very nice property, very safe. I'm very comfortable with it. And that is a special rate, again, because we're on a service trip. But if anyone's been to New York, a $90 room per night is pretty much unheard of for a nice Sheraton property. And that's what we were able to ascertain. By putting 4 people in a room, we're looking at about $22.50 a night, but it's actually more than that, and I need to explain why that is. When we organize these trips, we don't pay per room, we pay for the entire cost of all the rooms together. And then we divide by the number of people on the trip. For example, we may have a father and a daughter or a mother and a son going. Well, I just can't assume that it's okay to put somebody else in that room without knowing that that family knows that parent. In other words, if it's a father and a daughter, I can't put another girl in that room with a guy that she may know or may not know without your permission. So I just can't make those assumptions. So sometimes the numbers don't work out exactly for 4 in a room. And when that happens, we're not going to punish those people by making them pay more for their room and other people pay less for theirs. So everybody pays the same rate. The other 2 rooms that I don't think people were considering is we do have to pay the driver's room of the bus, which is a single, as well as my room, which is a single. So that's $900 right there. 5 nights, 90 nights, $90 each, $450 a person. That's $900 that everybody has to come together and pick up. I'll pay the same amount as everybody else. Also that includes tips. I also include the tips for the maids. We got such a great deal on this room, we have to make sure we tip the maids well for their time. So I take all that up front so we don't have to worry about any of that as we're going. When I gave the initial cost of the trip, I only included bus and hotel because those are the things that are not going to change. We know the set price of each room, we know the set price of the bus. Food and entertainment is different and much harder to gauge. Everybody has different eating patterns and also different standards for what they wish to eat. So it was hard to give an exact amount for food because we're going to be on our own to eat each day. When people said they really wanted a rate, I just kind of guessed $40 a day. Some of you could probably get away eating a lot less than that. Some of you might want a little more. If somebody wants to order in a pizza every night to the hotel, you're probably going to need to bring a little more than $40 a day. If you're okay, and I'm completely fine with this, if you want to pack granola bars, snacks, if we want to make a grocery store run and pack sandwiches for lunch, that's fine too, and then we could get away with substantially less than $40 a day. So that was just sort of a ballpark figure, which is going to be different for everybody based on what your eating patterns are and what your standards are for eating. I'm totally fine if you want to have a granola bar and an apple every day in the morning to just pack that in advance and bring it with you, and that's no problem. And we can do the same thing for lunch. Other people I know really want to enjoy New York cuisine and eat out. So again, that's a personal choice on that. The same is true with entertainment. I know there are some kids that really want to see a Broadway play. Others really do not care to see one. We're not going to force everybody who doesn't want to go to pay ticket for a play they don't want to see, but we're not going to deny the people that really want to see a play the chance to go. So again, entertainment is something that is going to be as you go as well. So that's why in those situations the prices will be different because people are doing different things, which is absolutely fine. That gets back actually to the bus, which because we'll be coming home late some nights, it would be much better to have a bus bringing us back to the hotel than having chaperones navigate subways or parking or driving in New York at night. I would feel much better having that bus to bring everybody safely back to the hotel. They could bring one group back earlier and then go back and pick up the kids that stayed at the play and bring them back as well. And everything is taken care of, again, door to door. So those are the things I was looking at when planning this trip. We do need to book, if we are going to go, we do need to book the bus this week. If we do not get enough of the bus, I will need to talk with people to find out what your interest is in driving up and having to rent the trailer and things like that. Because that would be the other option if we do not have enough of the bus. We're trying to get 30 people for the bus so that it's $200 a person for the bus. So I just want everybody to understand where the rates are coming from, where your money's going. In looking at other companies that take people to New York City, this is actually well below the regular cost. When you're thinking 5 days in New York City, 6-day trip, $600 including food, that's only $100 a day for all of that. Again, bus, transportation, in and out of New York, hotel, and food. Anyone that knows New York, that's a pretty good deal for what we're getting. So anyway, hope people can come. It's really a great opportunity, a trip of a lifetime. If the money is still an issue, please talk to me because we can talk with you about doing a fundraiser after the trip and paying yourself back. I'm also open to that as well. So thank you again.